Okay, welcome to the tutorial video for Marbleslides lines. In this delightful and challenging activity, students will transform lines so that the marbles go through the stars. Students will test their ideas by launching the marbles and will have a chance to revise before trying the next challenge. Basically, what you're going to be doing looks kind of like this picture right here in the Desmos activity. So you're going to transform lines. So we'll get to that in a second, but you're going to transform lines in order to drop these marbles in order to collect stars. So let's kind of get right into it. Don't have a lot of time. Okay, so very first slide. Make sure you read all of these little side directions over here, because if you don't, you're probably going to mess up each slide. And these are the hints and clues from Desmos to do each slide. So make sure you read those. All right, so there's a launch button on usually every slide, and it launches the marbles like that. And as you can see, and if you want to reset, I believe it's, yeah, it's like, so if you want to reset each time, you click on the little cog right there and you reset it, and it resets the slide. So you launch the marbles and they will go towards the stars if you have lines constructed in order to do so. So in this one, boom, success. Okay, so that's kind of the gist of what goes on. And then it has these directions right here. It says change one number in the row below. So the equation that we're actually used to. This is the slope. The slope is always next to the x variable. This is the y-intercept. So 1/2 is the slope, plus 1 is the y-intercept. Here's plus 1, the y-intercept, 0, 1, and then it goes over 1, 2, up 1. So rise is 1, up 1, over 2, or over 2 and up 1. That's the slope. Here's a y-intercept. Okay, so right now if we launch it, obviously does not collect the stars. So we're trying to collect the stars in each slide. Now it says change one number. So what number? Looks like the slope actually matches the slope of the stars. So what we want to change is the y-intercept. Now if we change to a 5, that just pushes it up. So we don't want that. We don't want to push this up. We actually want to bring it down. That's the transformation that it's talking about in the directions that we started with. So you want to change this y-intercept so that it moves this line down and it allows the marbles to run along the stars. So right now it's at 0, but if we want it down a little bit right here, like, I don't know, that's 0, 2, then we put a -2 because it's below 0. Now you see how the stars are like right on the line? That's actually okay and it will work. If you want to get a little bit more precise, you can put like 2.2 and it moves it down just a little bit more. And success. So you kind of keep doing that, and this shows you how to reset it like I showed in the first one. But then there's starting to get some more complicated stuff. So this one's actually not that complicated yet. Change one number in the row below to fix the marble slide. Okay, so right now, this line right here, if you drop the marbles, they just go straight down. So you want to drop them on the line in order for them to collect the stars. Right now, the steepness of this line is way too steep. It's way over here. So we're actually not going to change. So right now I'm changing the y-intercept. That's not going to do anything for us. So if we put +6, that's not doing anything for us. So we're not going to change the y-intercept. Let me see here. I think it was started at +3, I believe. Yeah, +3. And you can always use these back and forward arrows if you made mistakes. So what we want to do is change this slope. So this is too steep. Now I want the slope to start from here and go this way. So I can use the grid. I can go over 1, 2, 3, 4, and then up 1, 2. So it would be 2 over 4. I'd be rise 1, 2, and then over 4. 1, 2, over 4. And let's see if, so basically what I'm saying is your slope is 1/2. So you can put point or 0.5. That actually worked. Or if you don't even know how to do that on the grid and you started right here, start plugging in slopes that are less than 4. So 1, not there yet. 0.9 or 0.8, not there yet, and you're going to work yourself down to 0.5. And that works. Success. Okay, so I'm trying to move a little bit fast through this because I only have 15 minutes for each video. Plus, I don't want you to watch 15 minutes worth of video every time. So I'm kind of working a little bit faster. If you have questions, please email me. But here's in this slide, so slide 5 is where we're really getting into the important stuff. So notice if we launch the Marbleslides, it doesn't collect all of the stars. It drops down. Well, that's because the line doesn't really get extended that far. So connecting back to your domain and range video, right now the width of this line stops at x equals, because we're on the x-axis, at x equals 4. It stops right there. Now over here in these little brackets right here, this is a domain restriction. It means that any number that's less than 4, so any number that's less than 4, we're going to have our line there. Now if I write a 5 here, it extends the line. A 6, 7. So as you write a larger number, it extends your line. That's because it's saying, now you can plug in any number that's less, so any of these x values, -4, 0, 4, that's less than 8. Anything that's more than 8, 9, will not work for this equation because of this domain restriction right here. This is a domain restriction. We're used to seeing this equation. Our slope is -0.04 and our y-intercept is +6. But this is a new thing. Very important to pay attention to this one because this domain restriction is going to help us in our future classes this year. So domain restriction, this is called an inequality, something that's less than 8. So a number that's less than 8. So play with that. If you do x is less than 7 and then you launch, that works. So success. Now it's going to have you do that a couple times. Type as many equations of the lines in the rows, collect all the stars. Now see how we have the stars right here and then stars right here. So right now our domain restriction is anything that's greater than 0. So all of these x values that are greater than 0, we will have a point on our line. So from here, 1, we have a point, 2, so on and so forth. But anything that's less than that, we don't have a point. But if we launch right now, these marbles never get to those stars. So we want our line to stop somewhere over here so our marbles will come down and get those stars. Well, we want it to stop like right here. That's an x value of 7. So we're going to plug a 7 in there. See how it stops the line right there? Because it's anything that's greater than x, we have values for, but anything less than, or anything greater than 7, we have values for, but anything less than 7, we don't. Anything that's greater than 7, we have stuff. Anything that's less than, we don't. Okay, now we want another line in here actually. So you're gonna have to kind of play with this. Let's see here. Let's use the same slope. And then let's say +2. +3. +3 looks good. If we launch, look at the, oh, that actually didn't work. So maybe we need to change this slope. Let's see here. Change this slope to like no, not 1/4. That's not gonna work. Okay, 1/2 is probably gonna work. Maybe we gotta change it to +5. Or what we can do is, so you gotta kind of play around with these. Let's see if this works. I think the slope is too steep though, or not steep enough. Let's try 0.6. That's not gonna work. Huh. It's gotta kind of play around with these. See the balls, they're kind of getting close. Let's see if We just restricted to 9. Oh, super close. So I'm getting closer, kind of playing with the domain restriction. There we go. So there was the original equation, but then I restricted the first domain, so it stops at 10. So make sure you play with these domain restrictions and see what happens to the equations. To type those in, it's the you want the same symbol right here, and that is right next to shift, and it's right next to the P on your keyboard. So and then X is less than 9. So let's see what that does. So for this one, it's a little bit different from that one. This one's X greater than 10. So anything that's greater than 10, we have a line. But this one's X is less than 9. So anything that's less than 9, we have a line. So hopefully that's starting to make sense a little bit. But if you have questions on it, please email me. I'll try to clear up as many questions as I can about these domain restrictions. But what you need to do is be patient and make sure you're just kind of changing stuff and seeing how it transforms. Okay, so let's move on. Now it says if we change the negative 0.14 to be a 2 in the equation, what would happen? So this negative 0.14, that's the slope, a negative slope, and it's not very steep. If we changed it to a 2, it would make it more steep, and it would make it positive. So if you change this to a 2, more steep and positive. This is the old line, new line. So work through that. It's going to ask you some more questions. So just predict what's going to happen from changing the 3 to a 0, predict, and then you'll see it over here. 3 to a 0 changes the y-intercept. So it's kind of walking you through what kind of I'm talking about right now. And then for here, it says if we change the 2 to a 5 in the domain restriction, what I was just talking about. So change the 2 to a 5, what's going to happen? You predict, and then you actually complete the task. So you extended the line. You can't actually see the old line, but it's there, and then we extended it. So it's being less strict as we put a larger number in there. Let's change it to 8, see the longer line. Now, if you shifted the sign, it would shift the so if you shift the sign, I put a greater than, X is greater than, so it means any numbers that are greater than 5, so 5, 6, 7, 8, so on and so forth, work for the equation. Now, if I shift it back to any numbers that are less than 5, any of these x values that are less than 5, we have an equation, or we have a line graphed. So hopefully that's me reiterating the point of what this means, is kind of giving you a clue as to what's happening. And then it says your friend won't get as many stars like this. What changes would you make to the equation to help your friend collect the stars? So you would just look at the equation, try to think, how would you need to change this? Maybe more steeper, and then why are those changes going to work? So predict, and then you actually change it. So let's see if this is better. Oh, okay, more steeper, probably needs to be more steeper than that, but then we need a less strict, so we need this line to extend further up. So maybe to like an x value of 5. Looks good. We might need to make that a little bit less steep though. There you go. Boom, that works. Anyway it works, if you get a success, then you're golden. I got about a minute time left on my time clock, so I get 15 minutes. Sorry for making this video so long, but it's trying to be as helpful as possible. It says keep at it. Now move on to several final challenges. Now when you get into slide 16 and above, these challenges are difficult. So you need to kind of play around with these. These ones, I would just want you to try as best you can. For this one in particular, you're going to need a line that goes right here, right there, and then you're probably going to need another line over here. So let me see if I can kind of, oh, I got 30 seconds. But you're going to have to play with this stuff. Oh, that looks too high. So line right there, but then you're going to need to domain restrict this because you want that line to stop right here. So when the balls launch, it goes that way as well. So if you domain restrict this to, let's see here, x is less than 7, nope, 12, looks like it's closer, maybe 11, no, 10.